The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, please visit our website at www.dallasgenealogy.org.
Okay, I think we finally have this technology figured out. Good evening. And this is the first Technology SIG for 2016. I'm Susan Younger, and I'm the person that Tony talked into doing this for this coming year. So welcome. Any communication that's going to be coming from me will be through an email, technologysig@dallasgenealogy.org. So I've got that on the slide at the end here. So anything you've got, the comments or anything, just please email me back to that, and then we'll have that in our records. This year has been a good year for talking about research and recording research. Kathleen is on the GoToMeeting, and I'll remind her that back at RootsTech earlier this year, thank you, back at RootsTech, we actually set in a kind of a roundtable discussion about the future of genealogy software, and some of the conversation centered around how you record your research results. And it's simple enough when you've got a marriage record and you go into your genealogy program and record that one piece of information to an individual, to two individuals. But what happens when you're trying to record your analysis? And I realize that we don't always record why we decided this information belongs to an individual. We are sometimes dealing with data that is not just about individuals. It's about a community or a group of individuals. And you have a lot more information in there that doesn't fit neatly into a genealogy program. And you should be doing the analysis and recording it. One of the things that came out in this little roundtable discussion is there's really no good software out there that does that just automatically. And so that was kind of on the wish list. Kathleen, are you recalling the same thing? Oh. All right. Evidently we can't hear you. Sorry.
No, you can hear me probably. I just had myself muted. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Well, you remember that session with David Rensher and John Wild is on there. I really do think we need to be able to do a better job of recording why, both for the positive and negative results. And so that's one of the things we want to start talking about this year. I had in mind to talk about this year is I don't have a magic solution to this, and my objective is not to tell you that there's one piece of software that's going to solve all of this. What I'd like to do is provoke you into thinking about how you record your research results, what software you're using, how effective you're being with the use of that software, and are there better tools? First of all, do you even have a toolbox of software that you're using? And perhaps over the coming year, we can build those toolboxes. Each of us have different hardware. We have different reasons for wanting to spend money on software or not spend money on software. We have different versions of software. So the whole point of this is not to tell you to use a particular software or a particular version, but to give you ideas, and more importantly, for us to share ideas. Next month, I hope to give a presentation on spreadsheets, and Gene has shared with me 3 spreadsheets that he's developed that he uses to log and to go in and do some analysis on land records. And so there's times when something other than a genealogy program is very appropriate to recording your research and will help you when you're trying to do the analysis. So tonight I want to do a broad overview of the different kinds of software that can be used that aren't necessarily genealogy specific, but can be used for it. And I also want you to think, how could you use the software in an everyday setting? Because the more you use the software, the more familiar you're going to become with it, and the more of the function you're going to be able to do with it. So tonight is to get you start thinking about how you do this. We also want to talk about publishing. And I don't mean publishing a book. We all find little tidbits of information, whether it's about an individual, whether it's about a repository, or a new source. And how are we sharing that? Does it go on a piece of paper, or does it go in a note and never get shared? And yet there's this marvelous manuscript collection at the Tennessee Archives. And have you shared that? Have you published that result? So we're going to look at some of the ways we could probably go in and share some of that. So, again, an overview of different softwares. This isn't all of them. And so as you think what you're using, you could email me what you're using, perhaps email me some templates. We are going to do this overview. We also want to do an overview of integrated applications of word processing, spreadsheets, slide presentations. This is probably what most of us use. We use some kind of word processing, and we use some kind of spreadsheet. And so we want to go over that in general, but again, if you've got something you're using, and I'm going to use Jean as an example next month, share that with us so that we can begin developing some best practices here. We're also going to talk about note-taking applications, publishing options, miscellaneous software tools, and most importantly, sharing best practices, tips, and tricks. So how do you record your research? On paper, in a genealogy program, word processing, spreadsheet, combination of these things? How effective are you being in that? Do you need a little more training? One thing I'm not going to do is teach you how to use this, but I am going to make a very good effort to give links to online tutorials. And so when you decide which of these programs fits your method and fits your style of research, then we've got some options to go in for some really nice training sessions. There is really some very good YouTube presentations. There's really a wonderful world of tutorials on some of these websites, and many of them are half an hour or less. So it's real easy to go in and look at this continuing education. So when we talk about publishing, first thing you think of is publish a book. Well, that's good, but that's easier said than done. Do you email your cousin with your latest finding? Barbara? Do you post your findings to an online resource and share it, again, publish it with other people? Do you submit articles to a Genealogical Society publication? That's an easier way to publish a family history story, is in a much shorter and formal process there. You post to a blog or a wiki. If you found that wonderful manuscript in the Tennessee Archives, have you posted it somewhere so that other people know how to get to that same source? And then obviously there's going to be lots of other ways to publish your research. And again, I'd like to have your ideas on that. I'm going to spend a lot of time tonight on software suites. And these are the ones that are going to give an integrated process between a spreadsheet, a word processing, a slide presentation, such as the PowerPoint I'm using. And tonight we're going to go over Google Drive with Google Docs, which is a completely free application. Apache OpenOffice is free. Microsoft OneDrive, SkyDrive is free. Microsoft Office is not free. Corel WordPerfect, because there are people in this room that use WordPerfect. There are. So Google is Google Drive and Google Docs are a perfect example of an integrated program that will allow you to save files and share. So we're going to go through some of the Google Drive, well, I guess all the perks with getting Google Drive. First of all, there's a safe place for your files. And good time now to stop and say there's a difference in saving your files on your hard drive and saving files in the cloud. And so I would refer you back to Tony's lectures of last year where we talked about doing backups and putting your files in more than one place. And more than one place is certainly not just on your hard drive. So Google Drive does give you the option to save things in the cloud, but you need to be careful what you put out there. Everything can be hacked. Google Drive will store any kind of file. So this isn't just a proprietary software, but you can save Acrobat, you can save video, you can save JPEGs, photos, just any kind of file. So that's a lot of flexibility built into Google Drive. You may or may not be using mobility equipment. You may not use a telephone, a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop. So depending on how you use this technology, Google allows you to do all of it, and they integrate this, so they make it very easy for you to share and access your files through any of these kinds of devices. You can share the files and folders with your cousins, with other people. And again, there is a lot of training on how to do this. This becomes very easy to do so that you're not emailing back and forth huge files, lots of pictures. It's just real easy to go in, put the things in a file. And I would recommend that when you share a file, you understand that not all people understand what they're doing. You might lose some of it, so you never want to share a file that's your only copy. So you might want to have a duplicate, have your shared file be kind of a duplicate in a working area. 15 gigabytes of free storage, that's a lot of Word documents to be able to store out there. And again, any kind of file, and all of it is able to be shared. One nice thing about Google, if you have a Google email, you see right here when you've got an attachment, this little icon right here, you're able to save directly to Google Drive. So there's a lot of benefit in using an integrated package and using mobile technology. Google Drive comes with free applications for word processing, spreadsheets, and slide presentations. Now these are not full function, the free software here are not full function like a Microsoft Office suite. But if you're not planning on publishing that book and you don't need to be doing indexing and a lot of formatting, this is perfectly adequate. One of the nice things about Google is if you are using a smartphone, you can take a picture using a Google Drive app. You take a picture, let's say here they're showing an example of a receipt, but if you were to take a picture of a faceplate of a book that you just researched or something and you want to take pictures out of the book, then you can upload directly into Google Drive. Very convenient. Help Center. So this is the type of thing where I say if you have decided that you want to use Google Drive and Google Docs, they have got excellent tutorials and excellent training. There are videos down here on how to do different things. And so if this is something you decide you want to do, there's a lot of resources on helping you get to that point that it's second nature.
Can I ask you?
Yes.
You want to hold that
No, go ahead.
In your experience, does Google Drive and these apps work better on Chrome than any of the others?
They do, but they certainly have things there for Mac. And so I think they have, and next, when I get into the monthly meetings, I'm going to give you more details about how they work and what they work on. But I have noticed that they say both for Mac and PC. Google's an Android-based system. So the most effective use of Google will be on an Android device, but it doesn't completely exclude a Mac or Apple.
I've used Chrome. It's not my default browser, but I used it with no problem.
Yeah. Well, and I'll get into more details in a different presentation. Apache OpenOffice is a free software that has the word processing and the same suite of applications. It is not cloud-based. They certainly give you instructions on how to save your files to a cloud-based storage service. But this is basically a software that you download directly to your computer, and it's resident on your computer. And so if you're not wanting to use a cloud-based storage and you want a free and a fairly robust software, OpenOffice is a good choice there. And you can put it on as many devices. You don't have the option to do the tablet and having access to the same file over different devices. Here they've got Writer, Calc, Impress, Draw, Base, Math. So there's several different applications in Apache, and in this presentation the web page addresses are here. They also have a strong office support and training section. Again, they've got a community support where you can go in. It's kind of a blog type situation, and tutorials for OpenOffice. So very good. Now, Microsoft. Microsoft obviously is a major player. So Microsoft offers two different scenarios. They have the OneDrive, which used to be called SkyDrive. It is basically a competitor to the Google Drive, Google Docs. It is a free application. Again, just like Google, Microsoft is integrated, and it really will take advantage of your mobile devices. And you're able to access, if you store your files in the OneDrive in the cloud, you're going to have access to your files with whatever device you're using. They do have a version of Microsoft Office online for free, and I'll show you a comparison at the end of this with the slides. It is not a full function Microsoft Office, but it certainly is a lot to use, especially for taking notes. And you wouldn't want to publish a book using the free online Office, but it is still fairly robust. Store your files in the cloud, just like Google. 15 gigabytes free. I mean, this is just paralleling the Google Drive, Google Docs. And again, if you're using mobile devices, this is a very good option. Microsoft has these different apps that it works with. Again, I'm going to show you some information about EasyBib and OneNote. So I assume, I haven't really checked on this, but I'm assuming Google Docs is going to be able to have similar things, but Microsoft Office, these are going to be some fairly easy integrated applications with the online Office. Training videos. Oh my goodness, just Office training videos are all over the place, and there's a lot on YouTube. But certainly through their web page, there is some excellent training videos if this is the application you decide to use. They've got storage plans. The point here becomes if you want to use a full version of Microsoft Office, they are really trying to guide everyone to the Office 365 instead of buying a standalone piece of software for your computer. 365 solves a lot of the problems that the software manufacturers have. Is people have different versions of the same piece of software, and at some point they are not compatible. So, obviously, a Word 2003 will probably open in an Office 365 application, but at some point, it costs Microsoft to keep that backward compatibility up. So at some point, they stop supporting a backward compatibility with the older software, and they really want to direct people into this cloud version where you do download it onto your computer, but the upgrades are pretty much automatic, and everyone at some point then is using the very same software. It helps when you're trying to collaborate, but then you've got a monthly charge. And let's see. This is a quick demo of how different this bottom pane is the free online. And so you can see that up here, which is the Office 3, oops, out of date. This is the Office 365 on the top, which is the full version of Microsoft Office. You have design and page layout are much more robust. Oops. There's just a lot more in the full version of the Office 365, but the free version is excellent as well. About anything we'd be doing in our note-taking. All right.
Susan, can you suppose you're working on a document in Office 365 and your internet service goes down? Can you still access that document?
Well, the question is, you're working on a document in Office 365 and you're working online. I use Office 365. It is resident. That software is resident on my computer. So it's not like you're necessarily working on that document real time in the cloud. It's when you save it, you're going to save a version of it in the cloud as well. Okay. So you don't, and you can do the same with Google. You can work offline with Google. And that's normally what I do, is work offline, and then when I'm saving it usually to my hard drive as well as to the cloud. Okay. So, but very definitely when you're dealing with cloud storage, you have to have internet connection, at least to do the saving and transferring and everything. Okay. Good time to ask any questions about kind of the core types of application we're talking about, these integrated software that is basically word processing, spreadsheets, and then a presentation software. Yes, Barbara.
Let me just make a comment on the Macintosh side. Macintosh Apple has iCloud.
Okay.
And iCloud, which is a storage area. And then they have similar kinds of software in Pages is the word processing, Numbers is the spreadsheet, Keynote is the PowerPoint program. Then they also have a thing called Notes, which is like numbers. And I have advantages of some of those, which that you can actually, with your iPhone or your computer, if you have an upgraded iPad, can actually talk to it. So Siri will record what you're taking in your notes. So I can hold my phone up, put up notes, talk to my phone, and it will record my information for me.
Yeah. And certainly Microsoft has a strong presence for the Mac. There's no doubt about that. But the web version, it doesn't matter whether you're using a Mac or a PC on the web version. So, okay, note-taking applications. So, do you want to take notes in a word processor, or do you want to have a slightly more formal application to do that? Microsoft OneNote, there is a free version, which I've not checked out yet. I use a full version of Microsoft OneNote. I absolutely love it. Evernote is the competitor to Microsoft OneNote. Again, there's a lot of functions in the free version, but it does cost an annual subscription for more functions. And Evernote does allow to record audio, and it will, there's a very robust web clipping ability to Evernote. We will go into more details with that in the month that we talk about note-taking applications. Google Keep is a note app, and it is really a fairly basic, it's almost a kind of to-do list type thing. Hopefully they'll continue to develop it. I'll show you a little bit about it, but it's nowhere near as useful as OneNote or Evernote. Research Ties is a commercial piece of software that is a very formal process for keeping notes and doing analysis. And so there again, it's an annual subscription to do that. And they really force you to go in and put in a lot of information. This is the type of software that I think David Rencher was talking about when he was saying, how do you record your research plus all of your decision processes and your analysis and everything. Clues is a piece of software that is basically a electronic file cabinet. And so it's not so much for taking notes as it is for storing the documents that you have accumulated and helping index it. They've got templates in there for all your census, and it's an incredibly good tool for going in and recording census, and then it becomes a relational database with all the census data in there, and I'll show you some information on that. I'm sure there's a lot more out there than these. These are some key ones, and so if you're using something, let me know, and I'll try to get that into one of the monthly presentations. OneNote is, again, part of the OneDrive. It's good, just like Evernote. It can be used on all your mobile devices, and you're able to have access to the files that you've done, that you've saved online. This is a copy of my Office 365 OneNote. So this is not the free version, this is the full version. You'll notice over to your left, it's a list of the notebooks. And this is literally, if you were to think of a paper notebook, full of paper, you're going to have a different notebook, say one for each family. So you would set up create your notebook over here. And then you have, across the top, you can put as many tabs as you want, which would be like a tab in a notebook. So you could have a tab, and I'll show you one in just a moment. You would have tabs across the top, but within each tab, you can go over and have pages. So each of these are going to give you, and this is a static thing here, but within each tab, you can have pages. So it's a really great way to go in and organize notes. You can keep everything in sync if you put it on the cloud. You can do web clipping, which Evernote is very strong in that regard. You can organize with tables, and this is, you could bring this in. Again, if you had a table that you had created, let's say a list of marriages or something that you wanted to bring in, you're able to do that with an Excel product. If you've got a tablet that you can write on, you're going to be able to write handwritten notes right into OneNote. You can integrate with Outlook, and if you've probably seen, if you use Outlook, there is an option there to save an email to OneNote. So if you're trying to collect all of your emails on a particular topic, it's very easy to save that email into OneNote. Becomes fully searchable. You can add spreadsheets, and they're using Excel here. You can, again, this is if you've got a tablet that allows you to write, you can save that into your OneNotes. Sorry. Tablet, iPod, a Surface, an iPad.
An iPad with work with it?
Mm-hmm. Now, Microsoft supports iPads. All right. Evernote. Obviously, you've got some different, you've got the free, a plus, premium. The more you pay, the more function you get. And I think when you start getting the premium and everything, you've got a much more function in doing audio and video files. So I think that's going to be the biggest difference there. Again, we'll get into more details later on. You can take notes, save images, create to-do lists, search. You can actually take a picture, take an image, a JPEG image of a text, a piece of paper, a copy of a book, and Evernote has an OCR function that will OCR the off the image. So that's a very nice little function within Evernote.
I have heard it's a really high quality OCR.
Good job. And Tony said it's high quality OCR. Again, look at, you've got iPads, iPhones over here, over here. And so Evernote is kind of neutral on your which device you're using. You can, again, write your notes in, collect notes, and if you're using a smartphone or tablet that you're writing something, again, just like OneNote, you can save those handwritten notes into Evernote. You can share the Evernote just like you can in OneNote, and there's actually some presentation capabilities in the premium version. So again, mobility here, if you're into using mobile devices, OneNote has got you covered. There's also some additional little programs, applications. Several of them are just for Apple, so that the Scannable is a Apple iOS only. The Web Clipper is one of the things that is really very high functioning in Evernote. Okay, here's a sample of Evernote. It's certainly designed differently than OneNote, so your notebooks or your main topics are going to be up here, and you have a click down where you could decide which notebook, I guess, that you're going to look at. These are the titles, I guess the chapter headings of your notes. I've put here a copy of a web clipping that I pulled out, so you can see that pulling in a web page is really very easy within Evernote and gives you that function there. And again, it becomes searchable. Research ties. Now, Barbara and I have both tried this. This is a very formal process, and it expects you to pay attention and document everything. They do research planning, recording results, analysis. If you do it right, you're going to have a really wonderful product. It's not something you just casually go in and use, you know, as you're browsing through the library stacks. You do have to add an objective. You have to add a search, results, source, all of this. They expect you to add this in and to go through the process of doing the analysis there. If you do it, it's, like I say, you've got a great product, but it takes some discipline to do that. Barbara, do you have anything to say about research ties?
I gave up. Very good. She just typed in the message down there.
Oh, okay.
Did you talk about the audio?
Oh, really, and I'm one of those ADD researchers, you know. I jump from one family to another. Oh, that, you know, and that does not work in research.
No, research ties is very, and like I say, if you do it, you're going to have an excellent product when you're finished.
Is this something that was developed
for genealogy?
It is. And this is probably one of the first of the...
I'm sorry.
One of
I
the,
was putting in.
oh, okay. This is probably one of the first pieces of software that when they were talking at Roots Tech, that this is what we need to be doing in the future. It's not the most user-friendly, so hopefully it will get better. Yes?
Do they have some products that other people have done that you can go out and look at their results?
Okay, he's asking, are there products
Or research papers that people have already?
You know, they do have some training, and this is a typical. They have some training, but I don't believe it's just going to be some examples that they've set up. I've not seen where other people that use it have gone out and shared. So this is kind of a typical thing of what the sort of thing that you would end up with if you completed it. And again, you have to set up your repositories, you have to set up your search goals, and then you put in your analysis as well. It's great if you'll do it. Yes?
Susan, could you and Barbara comment on the retrieval of information back out of the system? Assuming you participate and you enter all the data,
Fully searchable.
interpretation and bringing it back to you for further use.
It's fully searchable. Oh, asking how easy is it to retrieve the information once you put it into research ties. So it is fully searchable. You can also save the results. There's several reports that are native to the application, and those could certainly be added in as a document to your genealogy program. And you could, since the electronic file, you could add it to as many individuals as you wanted. And that would be probably the best way would be to go in and look at the different reports they have and use a report as some documentation to an individual in your genealogy program. Clues. I like Clues. I've been using Clues for years. It is basically a digital file cabinet. Again, it's not for taking notes, but once you've gone out and you've got digital copies of half of a book, or you've got, digital images of censuses and everything, this is a great place to organize those documents that you've collected in your research. And so it's a little different in the fact that it's not note-taking, but there are a lot of, they use templates, and what you end up with is a fairly well indexed, of the documents, the digital documents that you have. And so the templates will give you structure to extract that data. So it could be a book. It's wonderful with censuses. They link the people together, and so there is a relationship in here between the people and the documents. There's a lot of ways to record various, all the little various bits of knowledge that you pick up and bits of data that you pick up. This is a way for you to look at the different templates, so you can actually put information in about people. Again, you're going to attach a document and then basically index information from that document in here, because the template will allow you to record some of the information about it. The census templates are just fantastic, and you're able to pull reports there and look at family groups, but then you're also able to look at communities doing this. So it's hard to take a census and put into a genealogy program when you put it in individual by individual and you want to see what family groups are within that census. An Excel spreadsheet, any kind of spreadsheet, is one way of doing that. This is another way. Again, we'll look more at it more closely. Okay, some miscellaneous web-based apps. First of all, any questions about the note-taking? All right. There's a lot of other software out there that can be useful, Bookmark managers. Most of the time we have our bookmarks resident onto our hard drive. But wouldn't it be nice to have all those bookmarks out on the web and be able to be accessed from any computer? And so there are several that do that. The URL I have here is a really good comparison of 5 of the top bookmark managers. They will actually manage and organize the bookmarks. You can access it from different devices and you store it in the web-based app. All of these are free. So Mozilla is tied to a Firefox browser. Xmarks, Dialgo, Delicious, and Google Bookmarks. Google Bookmarks being the web-based version here, not the one that comes resident on Chrome. So this is a really good app that doesn't just benefit you with genealogy. I mean, if you're doing a travel planning, you could go out and bookmark different websites that you may want to access as you're traveling. So if you're doing a travel and doing a research, you could bookmark and organize within one of these apps all the different repositories that you're going to go visit, and then have that be able to pull that up very quickly without having to go through the search. So it's a nice group of extra little software here. Well, and certainly you can, but then you have to go through and search for it. So it's in as a note. So yes, you could. In fact, you could have a notebook of bookmarks. But by going here, you're able to click and go right to that web page directly. So we'll take I know it's hard to understand exactly what it is. I will take at least one of these and get into more detail at a later time. PDF. I just can't say enough about PDF. And I refer you back to Tony's.
I didn't think that email from Jim sounded.
Back to Tony's presentation, December 2014.
Very good.
We're talking about archiving and storage methodology. PDF basically is a portable document format that gives you, allows just about any kind of file format to be put into a consistent format, and then it can be archived. It's very stable. The full version of Adobe Acrobat allows some very strong OCR. It becomes fully searchable. When you've got those digital files out there, if you've taken a picture, it can be stored in JPEG, but I like to convert mine to PDF. You'll find a lot of PDF files that are, when you're into a genealogy site, a lot of the files and the documents are stored in PDF. And there's just so much that you can do with PDF as far as searching and storing. PDF is also a smaller file format oftentimes than, say, a larger JPEG.
So can you convert JPEG? I do a screenshot of an obituary, and I can see it.
The question is, can you convert a JPEG file to PDF? There is software that allows you to do that. Right.
Okay. Just about any file format.
That's right.
Can be converted into PDF.
But you have to have some other software within Adobe Acrobat.
Yeah, there is some Adobe products and others that.
There are others. Fawcett, Phantom, Nuance, PDF Create, and I tell you, Adobe Acrobat is a fairly expensive piece of software, but it's got incredible function. The Nuance PDF Create is, oh gosh, probably a third the cost of Adobe.
So if you have Adobe Acrobat Pro, then you could.
That's right. Pro does there's a lot of function in Adobe Acrobat Pro. Now, each of these have a free reader. And so if you obtained a PDF file off of another website from another individual, it's easy enough to read them with free software. It's when you want to start being able to OCR and do different storage things with it. There's form ability within Acrobat. So there's a lot more things that we're going to talk about later about what a PDF document how useful it can be. OCR programs. This is a list, and obviously an OCR is when it takes an image of some kind, could be JPEG, could be PDF, and converts it into an electronic text file that can then be edited and searched. And oh my goodness, that is so great when you try to take you've got a PDF copy and you want to begin adding to that or something. OmniPage is one of the major OCR products. Again, Adobe Acrobat, ReadIris. All of these cost money. The more functions they have, the more expensive they are. Source citation. All right, obviously at the top of the list, evidence explained. Now, she has, Elizabeth Mills has a website out there. There are some tutorials on source citation out there that are free. She also has for sale an electronic version of her evidence explained so that you don't have to walk around with a 5-pound book. It's also fully searchable. EasyBib is a free bibliography creator. Mendeley, Zotero, these are, again, websites, and I've given you the websites here for you to be able to go out. Zotero actually allows you to collect more than just a bibliography. It allows you to collect some of your research and store it there. So I would encourage you to look at this. This may be, sometimes the bibliography creator may be more trouble than it's worth, but I think it's worth taking a look at, especially if doing source citation doesn't come naturally. Let's talk about publishing. Obviously, a family history book would be a great thing to leave, but easier said than done. But there are other ways to get your stories out there in shorter, smaller pieces. And I would refer you to the Dallas Genealogical Society resources. If you've spent a lot of time, especially on a Dallas County project, that you've indexed or you've put together a lot of information, come talk to the board member that's in charge of publication and see if that can be shared with everyone and posted on the DGS website. I don't know how many, DGS does try to collect Dallas County, maybe even a little wider in Texas. So if everything you're doing,
downloaded malware box onto his computer and ran it.
Everything you're doing is in New York, may not be applicable here.
Legal article and
Find a grave. Okay. If you've got pictures of gravestones that haven't been added to Find a Grave, but your family gravestone, pick them out there. It's real easy to upload this. You don't have to add family information there, but that gravestone may be the very one that somebody 500 miles away is looking for. And that's an easy way to publish a little piece of information, and you can make somebody's day if you did that. Same thing with billion graves. Now, billion graves allows you to go out and do GIS tag as to where that headstone is. Find a Grave does not yet at this point. So if you've got a smartphone and you're out and you found that elusive great-grandfather, with billion graves, you can actually geocode, and so everyone else will know how to get back there to that one. We're going to look at blogs. Now, this isn't just blogs that you would write, but there are blogs out there that other people keep, and you can share little bits of information there. And again, that might be the one piece of information somebody spent 5 years looking for, and you've just shared it and posted it. Wikis are a good way to share information about repositories, research methods, source material, that if you come across something unique, put it out on a wiki. And we'll look more in detail at that. A Genealogical Society publication. And when I talked about resources, I said, do you have an index if you've done some kind of project? But the Society's publication, you write your story. So instead of a 200-page book, write a 5-page story. If You can publish in Family Search and on Ancestry and their trees, make it public. That's one way to do it. And Facebook is obviously one option, much less formal process. All right, this is just give you an idea of what records the DGS has. And again, if you've got something, I'd encourage you to contact the board and see if it's something that they would be of interest posting onto the webpage. Find a Grave. I assume everyone knows Find a Grave. Billion Graves. This actually is the same Michael Clark. You can see I've got Michael Clark here, and so there's actually a entry for him. Michael is out at Oakland, and slightly different on Billion Graves, so more of a locator type service for Billion Graves. US GenWeb is still here and could be an incredible resource. This is where you could put little pieces of information, 1 deed, 2 deeds, a marriage record or something, again, small indexes for any place in the United States. And I would encourage you to go out and look at some of their processes there. This is Dallas GenWeb, Dallas County. So if you had some information about churches, one church, might not be appropriate to go on the DGS website, but it certainly might be appropriate to be within a Texas Gen website. Blogs, all sorts of blogs. Some are very general on genealogy, and Genealogy is thought to be kind of the main website for a list of all the genealogy-related blogs. Some of them are family-specific that you could go in, and I assume that if you wanted to start your own family-specific blog, you could get it listed here. This is an example of Texas History and Genealogy blog. Someone put out a picture of a high school class, 1927. Great way to share that sort of thing if you've got that in your personal archives. This is the Family Search Wiki on Dallas County. Do you know of a nice resource here in Dallas County that hasn't been posted on the wiki? This is a great place to share it.
Did you bring me
again, Genealogical Society publication.
And to the White Pills, to
FamilySearch.org tree. And the nice thing about the FamilySearch is it's a community effort, and anyone can add to. These are not personal family trees. Once you put it out there, you're pretty much putting it out there for the community to add to. It's almost kind of a wiki type situation. Somebody can post something to your grandfather. You can say, well, that's not quite true, so you can contest it or argue against it. But this is certainly a way to put individual pieces of information out and publish it out to the public. Ancestry.com, same way. Obviously, Family Search is free access, Ancestry cost. So what's best for you? Is it any one particular software? Can the software enhance your research process? Have you thought about how it can enhance your research process? Think about how you research, and then use the best tools for the method that you do. What forms, templates, or processes do you use that may be a best practice? Can you share those with us here in the Technology SIG? And are you publishing and sharing your research? You just may have the answer that somebody spent years looking for. Any questions? We're going to talk about the tentative schedule, but I'm going to stop the recording at this point. But so, any questions about this overview of software that may be of use with your research process?
Did you tell the remote folks their live again? Turn it back up.
That what?
Tell the remote folks that turned their microphone
Okay, those of you that are at GoToMeeting, we have turned your microphones on so we can hear you now. So,
there is a Facebook page, and maybe all of you all have bookmarked it, called Technology for Genealogy. It's a page or a group. Now I can't remember which in terms of the Facebook definition. But if people are posting a lot of technology-related, software that they're using, they developed an Excel spreadsheet for this particular thing, and it's a good Facebook page. It's called Technology for Genealogy, I think.
okay, so Carolyn Davis was telling us about a Facebook page, Technology for Genealogy. Again, a forum where people are sharing tips and tricks, templates, best practices. So go out and look for that. Anything else? Yes.
Have the software vendors put together some examples of here's a good way to use our software so that you can kind of relate your situation, your needs, and what their capabilities are.
All right. So have any of these software vendors given examples or I guess built-in ways of trying to get us to figure out how we could use their software for genealogy? Some of them do. The ones that like Evernote and Research Ties, Clues, those groups that are generally geared toward genealogy do. The Microsoft, the Google Drive, I've not seen that. But I think that we could go out, and one of the things I will look for, are there communities that are specific to Google Docs, Google Drive, that are saying, here's how you could use it for genealogy. I am going to go out and look for that sort of thing. And so I think the Facebook page may be a good place to start. Yes.
I had heard.
I didn't miss anything not going to the tech meeting, which is what I'm listening to.
A program called Evidentia.
Evidentia, yes.
When was that?
I do have a copy of that. That is, again, it's not a note-taking, but it is, again, a more formal process of taking your notes and running them through an analysis and recording your analysis, not only of the information, but of the source. What is the quality of the source? And so I can add Evidentia into the note-taking. It's more or less an after the fact, after you've taken the notes. Let's do the analysis, and let's do an analysis of how good is the source to begin with. So it's that sort of analysis that's doing there. Again, a formal process there. So I can add Evidentia into the note-taking as kind of a back-end process or software to do that. Okay.
At some point, do you intend to talk about the actual publishing process once you've actually created a book or all that?
Missing anything not really good, or because you're able to listen to it live?
Okay, the question is, how do we publish the book? And
they didn't cover
that would be a complete session on its own. As we go through the tentative schedule, and I want to talk about what you would like to see in the upcoming SIG, that is certainly something we'll put it down. I've got couple of open slots in next year, and so that might be something to drop in. I know that both Microsoft Word and Corel WordPerfect have e-publication capabilities, which means you don't have to go out and do a paper copy. So I'm assuming, Tony, that when you're asking about publication, you're talking about doing an electronic format or preparing it for a paper or printed copy.
I'm not sure what I'm talking about. I know I looked at TSGS and they have constitutions for published and with histories and things, and I won't go vague and what does it mean to publish something?
Well,
putting it on a PDF, if I just publish it, if I do want it printed, or in the ebook version, I guess either one. Just I'd like to know a bit more about what's possible there.
Well, I've got an open slot in February. I'm going to be at Roots Tech. I mean, that's a good topic. I mean, certainly that's a legitimate topic for this area.
Well, Susan, there are a couple of people who publish books that are members of the society that ask individuals to ask. For example, Ed Miller.
That's right. Ed would be.
Oh, Ed would be excellent.
Ed would be
excellent. There's also the guy that actually spoke to the general session about his family history. He actually gave us a copy of his book. We reached out now in the new bookshop. I can't remember what his name is, but he talks about the book and the characters in it. But he might.
Oh, those are talking about finding Clyde and
talk. Jim Gateway.
Jim Gateway.
He may talk more about the process of getting it published rather than just wow.
all right.
But and also, I was interested in publishing in terms of publishing on demand.
All right. Such a service like Lulu.com, where you put the book out there as an EPUB, and then
you have to get it read.
Right.
Put it out there. Well, it's not really an EPUB. It's really
it could be a hard copy.
be a hard copy. You say, I want a copy of this book, and you send all that out to all your cousins, and they pay, and then they print out the book.
And send it out to you. Okay.
Or print it in a day.
And I know Lulu.com is a major player in that type of publication, the on-demand. Okay.
The other thing that there's an app on the Apple side. I'm trying to think. You have to have a Macintosh computer to create it. It's called iBook, and you can create a book and then publish it so that it's readable on an iPad.
Okay, that's an e-publication, yeah.
And when you do that, you also, if you own all of the pictures that you put into it, you own all the content that you don't do.
For you to.
Get all the costs and
Oh.
all the costs. You can actually put it in the app store to be read, downloaded onto your iPad.
Okay. So it sounds like that's we agree that would be a good topic for the future. So we'll just figure out when to slot it into our schedule. Or is that not here with the goal? Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right, so let's talk about, tonight we talked kind of a general overview, but what I'd like to do over the next 2 months is go into more detail with some examples and some little tips and tricks, starting next month with using spreadsheets. I think spreadsheets would be fantastic. And then there's some tips and tricks of using an Excel spreadsheet that I'd like to share with you, and then give you some more pointers to some online, I guess, just-in-time learning sessions. Then we go into word processing, and this is where I'd like to hear from you. What kind of templates do you have? What are you using in your word processing to take your notes or to record your research? And so I'd like you, if you've got some good forms, send them to technologysig@dallasgenealogy.org, and that will be up here. But I'll also point you to some websites that have some Word document templates already in place. So that would be what we use that for. For taking apps, again, I'll have a few more examples of that. I was thinking that maybe I could talk Tony into doing his digital afterlife presentation. Candy, you had that prepared, Tony?
That was her idea.
Yes, it was.
All right. And it doesn't have to be January. We can certainly rearrange this. But I think the digital afterlife, since we talked all night about digital files and websites that we've got things posted on, what happens when you are no longer accessing that, and do they just sit there and disappear in an archive, or are you going to make some preparations to making sure that someone's got access to it and someone can to what you want done to it. So I think this is a very relevant topic, especially if we're talking about having digital files that we want published, work in process. All those years of notes, it would be terrible for this just to disappear into a Dropbox black hole. So, and so Tony, if I can talk to you about that later, we can decide. I'm at Root Tech in 2016, but I would certainly be willing. We can either, I don't know how many of you here plan on going to Root Tech. We could not have a meeting that month, or if you don't mind, I would find somebody else to come in. I would join the meeting via GoToMeeting at that time. So Root Tech, that February, that's kind of an open topic. Using web apps to publish those, the different groups of things. I really want to go into blogs and wikis there and give you some examples of how easy it is to post blogs and wikis. Those are wonderful ways to share things. And then those miscellaneous software and web-based apps, go into that in more detail. I do have one slot open. It doesn't have to be in May. So that one slot could easily be a discussion about electronic publishing, or how to prepare your work for publication. If there, at this point, let's talk about what else you might want to do if we want to substitute something here. You got a volunteer, Dean?
Everybody's going to talk at once.
Well, and obviously, think about this and send your ideas to the email. So there's my the email address if you use that.
Well, I'm very interested in this digital afterlife, and perhaps I can contribute.
Yeah.
I'll just need to talk faster than I normally do. Okay.
All right, so we've got digital afterlife. We can decide if you want to do it January.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, so, yes.
May I ask on the digital afterlife, can you share back a little more of the scope of what that includes?
Oh, yes.
What it excludes? Now, how big a picture you going to draw at?
I've only done a little bit of research into it, and the gist of it is just looking at what happens to your electronic stuff. Particular stuff that's kind of out there in the cloud. Some of the focus is, of course, what's on your personal device, what's on your computer at your home. The broader concern is what happens to your Facebook page. What's going to happen to stuff that you have in Dropbox?
Your email account.
Yeah, a lot of it is your own planning for the future, if you will.
Absolutely.
That area.
Right. So much of this is password protected. Are you the only person that knows the password?
And there are some other concerns about that, because even if somebody has your password, legally it is illegal for somebody to use your password to go after your stuff. So you start going into some legal issues that kind of cloud this as well. So it's a pretty interesting, pretty broad area, and really vague right now, because we're just kind of getting into the era where most of us are hoarding stuff digitally in the cloud, trying to go into the cloud ourselves, and these issues are emerging.
You know, I just got an email, seems like I was doing something on Facebook recently. They indicated that you could identify an individual who would have your access, could have access to your account. Something happened.
Well, and I've read some books on it. One of the things is to put it in your will. I mean, you can certainly identify someone who has legal rights to your digital assets, and you can leave, say I'm leaving my passwords and they have my permission and certain my expectation to access those files. And then perhaps within the will explain what you like to have done.
We can also include media itself, changing technology, and exploration of media types, etc.
No, so much, and I've covered that in other presentations, and that just really broadens the topic out. That's a couple of discussions in and of itself. There is some stuff, some recordings from last year where that is talked about, some of the background you talked about that there, but this is more kind of focused on the issues we talked about earlier, the rights and the legality and things that you can and should do to plan for your digital assets.
But I'm going to say, if you've got something that you want to share, get it out there now. Because I'm not sure any of my family would do exactly what I wanted with life. If I want it done, I'd better be doing it now. Well, I don't know. I've got a cousin, daughter-in-law I can give it to, and she'd do what I want.
I'm going to send you a URL for some software to transcribe.
Ah, yes, that would be great.
I've used it made in Europe somewhere or other. It's a free copy, and then you got a pay copy.
Okay, right.
That's what I use for transcribing deed records. It's got it's a split screen where the top half is the image that you're working on. The bottom half is rich text with type information that you get from.
Would you enter
You can do a zoom in on it, enhance it, make it look where, you know, you can change it around, you can zoom in, zoom around on it. I'll send a URL to that too. Look at it.
All right, just to kind of recap, Jean is going to send me a link to some software that has both a free and paid version. It is basically a transcription program. Split screen where the top screen is the image you're transcribing, the bottom is the text. And then it's got some viewing enhancements there that would, I guess if you have a bad copy of the image, that it's going to help you
reverse it or enlarge it.
So yeah, so helping
Make a little better picture out of it.
Trying to enhance the picture and the image itself. So we'll add that into the miscellaneous.
Just several months to a big Eastman wrote about it.
Okay.
It's in,
One of those blogs, right?
yeah, it's a Dick Eastman. If you don't read Dick Eastman, you're missing a lot.
All right, cool. You might want to announce about the new item we just received on the 8th floor, the Dallas Genealogical Society purchase out of the funds that we raised. We have a book copier, so is it a scanner? It's a book scanner. It's not just books. You can also do like just plain paper. Right. But the nice thing about a book is that it's going to allow a better image than if you were to slap it onto a copier. Yeah. That is on the face-up scanner on the 8th floor near the service desk. And it's right now you're not able to print off of it, you're not able to email, so it's still a work in process, but you can make images and save them to a thumb drive as of today. The cost is free if you're not printing. Do I understand that? Yes. Cost is free to make the image. To make the images, yeah. If and when they get the printing capability up, there will be a cost for the printing, obviously, through the paper and the print.
Yeah, another thing. If you're on Ancestry.com, they have just put up wills and probate that are free through Labor Day.
Okay. Well, I think all of Ancestry is free.
Yeah, through Labor Day.
All right,
But
so
they got this wills and stuff. It's basically an index and stuff that the Family Search has already got online.
So Ancestry has an index to wills and
probate,
which covers much of the Family Search information material, and access to Ancestry is free through the Labor Day weekend. It's got images.
Yeah, the index will take you to the index page of the volume that it was first found, and then that gives you the page number when you get there, and you can scroll down to the page number
Okay.
and actually see the will.
All right. So the index does lead you to an image of the document.
Actually will itself.
Okay. Carolyn.
Back to this handy dandy new scanner upstairs. Is it just, I want to say just, but I mean it's book and paper. But are you, you can use microfilm and fiche and no, it's just
So it's hard copy.
hard copy.
Hard copy.
Okay.
But the nice thing about it, too, is that you can put a book on there face up. You know how hard it is to put a book face down on a scanner and it pictures of it. This way, you put it face up and it scans this page and then it scans that. It'll also scan pieces of paper that are, you know,
So
Wide
scan
to the
oversized.
normal.
Oversized.
unbroadened stuff. And you can tell it to scan across the whole page. You can tell it to scan one half the page, the other half of the page. I think,
And then you can also adjust what you're wanting to take a picture of. Yes. Well, I just want the top half of this book. You can adjust it so it will.
So there's editing capability.
Yeah.
And it's face-up scanning of the book for a much better quality copy than if you try to do it on a copier.
And I haven't used this one, but the one out of Salt Lake, you can do it as PDF or as JPEG or as
Yeah.
I'm not sure up there. If people will get it.
So multiple file formats, you can say PDF or TIFF, JPEG. That's great. Love that PDF. Ready to do OCR and it's searchable. Anything else? Yes?
I'm sorry. If y'all have not received our brochure about the fall seminar featuring Dr. Michael Lockefeller, I got it right?
Yeah.
Thinking, Assessing, and Storytelling, Genealogy Beyond Birth, Marriage, and Death. And it's Saturday, October 24th. The brochures have been mailed out, but if you want on our mailing list or whatever, there are some here. And if you don't happen to be a member of the Dallas Genealogical Society, I have some membership brochures.
And I would encourage you all to come to the meeting Saturday. The first meeting of the new year. We meet all of our members there. We are going to elect the new board and confirm them in. Got a good topic. It's Jewish genealogy, but I think it's going to be a very interesting topic as well. So come, and then you can do some research a little before and a lot afterwards. Yeah. All right. So what Carolyn was doing was a little advertising for the October 24th, I guess, workshop with
Lockefeller.
Dr. Lockefeller. So that information is on the DGS website, as well as brochures here at the library.
And we are starting a new special interest group.
Yes.
That will be meeting the third Thursday at this time. Hopefully, we are meeting this group on September 17th. It's the DNS interest group.
Okay. Well, Barbara was saying a new special interest group on DNA, first meeting September 17th, 6 o'clock in this room on the 5th floor, Dallas Public Library.
Led by
Mitt Barnett, and I think Barbara was there.
Raised it from the grave.
Yeah, that's why it's DNA dig.
Oh, dig.
Dig. Okay.
It's the dig group, DNA interest group. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us on the GoToMeeting, and we are going to end the meeting now.
Will there be
For the DNA.
Oh,
DNA?
what did you ask?
Will there be GoToMeeting for DNA?
The question is, will there be GoToMeeting for the DNA meeting? I don't know. We will recommend that to Nick. So we're looking for, Carolyn, you do the e-blast. We can try to get an answer to that and put it in the e-blast?
Oh, yeah, I'll be blogging about it over the weekend.
Okay. Carolyn's going to be blogging about it. We'll try to get an answer if GoToMeeting is going to be available. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it to be informative. You can find a wide variety of information, including information about upcoming meetings, activities of our special interest groups, records, and publications at our website, which can be accessed at dallasgenealogy.org. If you are already a member of the Dallas Genealogical Society, thank you for your support. Your membership fees make it possible for us to run the website, create resources like this video, and support a great many other activities. If you're not a member, we hope you will consider becoming one now.